What's up, everyone? We are back after a little bit of a layoff. Actually, 2 years of a layoff. Excuse me. A lot has happened in the world of me and half the story in this past 2 years. For various reasons, haven't been podcasting. Most notably, just been too lazy. Secondarily, computer issues. Finally got a new computer, so we are up and running again. 2022, back after a little bit of layoff. My last episode, we're gonna say it's pre-COVID because it was 2019, December of 2019. So that was pre-COVID. We didn't even know what COVID was back then. So definitely the whole world is upside down since I last talked to you guys, and obviously things have changed for everyone, for better, for worse, for neutral, and lots changed in my life and in Christy's life. So let's kind of get into it here. So biggest change so far since COVID is relocation. So me and my wife have moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We were previously living in Portland, Oregon, but now our home base here is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Go Bucks. Still Blazers fans, still excited to see the Blazers here in a couple weeks. They play in Milwaukee. So biggest change is the biggest move for us. Not to get into it, but wanted to be closer to home, wanted to be, try something different, see if we like it, see if we love it, see if we hate it. So we're still working out the kinks here in Milwaukee, but all is good so far. Everything's going great. Really glad to be starting up the podcast again. It's actually a Tuesday here, January 25th. So wanted to get this up and going by the first of the year, but had to buy a whole new computer. Tried to film an episode earlier a couple weeks ago, and the 2012 Mac that we had no longer could keep up with anything, so had to wait to get a new computer. But we're here. We're back. We're in Milwaukee. We're doing the damn thing. So we're back to Half the Story podcast. Let's start with this weekend. What a great weekend of football it was. There was 4 games on. All 4 games were walk-off games, as in the sense as the last play was the winning play of the game. 3 kicks, 1 in overtime. And I was really, really rooting for the Packers now that we're living in Wisconsin. I'm not a psycho about it. Some people let it ruin their day, ruin their, break their TV and throw stuff at the TV. That's not me. I was kind of watching from afar. A little disappointed in the Packers, but that's okay. Still rooting for good games. So we got 4 really good games, and now we got the Bengals. We've got Bengals Chiefs. Shout out to Joe Burrow. He's my new favorite football player to watch. And we've got the 49ers Rams. So either way, we're in the Super Bowl. We're getting hopefully a new face, a new quarterback. I'm sure the Chiefs will probably win it all, but it is what it is. Now that the Packers are out, just kind of rooting for Joe Burrow and Cincy, and then be cool to see the Rams get into with all those vets, those old wily vets on the team. But football season has been great. There was fights this past weekend as well. UFC fights. Francis Ngannou, Ciryl Gane fought. Not gonna lie, did not watch the fight. Not gonna lie, the UFC did a terrible job of promoting the fight. There was a big heavyweight UFC fight. Anytime there's a heavyweight championship fight, it's must-see TV. It's everywhere on the social media. It's promoted pretty heavily, but for some reason this one kind of fell through the cracks. For me, I would say I'm a little bit more than a casual fan, but you didn't really hear anything about it, and that's, I believe, because, and I could be wrong, but Francis was on the last fight of his contract, and I think they're trying to play hardball with him to see, if he did win, if he did lose, they could either offer him lower money or whatever. But not to get into the logistics of it. But yeah, that fight kind of fell through the cracks. I didn't end up watching it. I was more kind of focused on the football games at that time. But man, it's weird to have a fight that big just kind of not be on people's radar and not everyone not excited for it, especially when you got, two of the best heavyweights to ever do it. One of them's undefeated challenging, and the other one is the greatest knockout artist besides Derek Lewis, of course, in the heavyweight division. So hopefully be breaking down and talking about some more fights coming up. But these NFL playoffs are sucking all the energy out of the room, kind of, so to say. So we got this weekend coming up of playoffs, and then we got a week off, and then we got the Super Bowl. So very excited for that. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of Super Bowl party going on in the new house. Here, maybe some wings, some chicken, buffalo chicken dip, something like that. That would be nice. Shout out to Big Daddy's Meat Wagon. That's one of my best friends, Clay. He lives here in Milwaukee. He's he's in the baby process of starting a catering, it's kind of a catering or a food service, kind of like a food service. It's called Big Daddy's Meat Wagon, and it is what it is. It's meat on a wagon. It's really good meat. Smoked meat, cooked meat, obviously not raw, and he's trying to get it going. So hopefully for the Super Bowl, my wife and him can do a collaboration, and we can make some bomb food. Get the meat wagon rolling over there with Clay Bonwell, aka Big Daddy's Meat Wagon. But yeah, the football's taking all the energy out of all the sports right now. Went to a basketball game the other week. The Bucks and the Grizzlies. Got to see Ja Morant live. Got to see Giannis live. Second game this year we went to. So a lot of sports stuff going on in the last couple of weeks. But we are very excited we've got a few comedy shows coming up here in Milwaukee, and we saw Mark Normand on New Year's, so that was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen Mark Normand or have heard of Mark Normand, you can follow him on Instagram. He's a pretty funny guy. He's been on all the big podcasts. But yeah, that was a lot of fun on New Year's Eve. He's pretty dry, but it was great, and looking forward to a few more comedy shows here in the next couple months. Most notably Brian Callen's and the Red Rocket, Cheeto Santino, there in Chicago. I think we're going to one more at the Milwaukee Improv in a few weeks. I can't remember the lady's name, but Milwaukee, I think the Improv's pretty new here, but it's in Brookfield, which is kind of a western suburb of Milwaukee, and no, it's a nice place. It's a good place for comedy. It's kind of underneath the mall in a parking garage. So on the outside looking in, it's not the coolest. But once you get in, it's got the vibe of a good comedy club. So it's nice being only 15 minutes away from that. And it seems like they're getting more acts in every week, so. What else is up? Gonna try to be working on trying to get at least one podcast out a week with Half the Story. And I don't know if I'm gonna do guests yet, or I kind of like doing it solo. So we'll kind of see. I need to kind of troubleshoot some issues with as far as having two mics. My technical skills as far as video editing, audio, those kind of things would probably be, if I would rate it from 1 or 0 being in a vegetative state, not able to edit videos, and 10 being like, who's the Michael Bay, the guy who did Transformers, that movie. And I think he did some other movies, but a lot of editing. or whoever did the Marvel movies, edited all those movies up. That is the number 10. So if 1 is a vegetative state and of editing, or 0 is a vegetative state, and 10 is the guy who did Transformers and Marvel movies of editing, I'm probably at a 2. So I'm gonna try to really learn. Like I said, we got a new computer for editing, or not editing, but just for general stuff. So I'm really gonna try to dive on in. Had some unexpected more free time the last couple week or so, and so I'm gonna really dive on in on that and try and do some cool edits to this. But the podcast will remain the same. Like I said, mostly solo episodes. If we can get a double mic figured out, maybe we'll have some guests on, spice things up a little bit. But I kind of like doing it solo. I kind of like talking to the wall in front of me. Yeah, that's what's going to be going on. So yeah, COVID happened, and so if you listen to the last episode, that's pre-COVID. So it's kind of a cool diary. Maybe I should go back and listen to them. But that's what life was like without COVID. So if you're like, man, I can't even picture what life was like without COVID, well, you're in for a treat, because my last episode was 2 years ago, December 2019, and COVID was, someone knew about it, obviously, but no one told anybody about it. But so that was what life was like without COVID. So, I mean, I'm sure you could watch any other movie filmed before 2019 to get that feeling too. But if you want to feel nostalgic, there is other videos up on YouTube, and then you can listen to the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, and what's the other one? Oh, Apple Podcasts, I think. SoundCloud, I think right now, trying to figure it out as far as RSS feeds. I need to relearn how to do that. Trying to find something that's free, because right now SoundCloud is charging $120 a year, and I don't really want to pay that just for them to distribute my audio podcast to other platforms. So trying to figure that out. So if something goes haywire and you're like, where's the new episode? I'm going to try and get that all tweaked out in the next couple of weeks with the episodes. But I think the biggest thing is just getting going, getting the episodes started, and being here with you guys. So yeah, before COVID, episodes are available. Since that time, we've had COVID, and lots have changed. Working in healthcare, I was working at a SNF during most of COVID, and we're still in COVID, the COVID times, aka the COVID. But yeah, I was working in a SNF, or a skilled nursing facility, so a nursing home, like a short term and some long term. So that was it was stressful, very stressful at times, working through COVID, and doing things and figuring out, are we gonna die today because of COVID? If we crack the window, will COVID get in? If I sneeze in my mask, do I need to change my mask? Can I eat in the same room as my coworker? When the vaccines came out, we got the vaccines, and we were all excited about the vaccines. But then some people were like, we don't want to take the vaccines. And then a lot of the healthcare places were like, you got to take the vaccine. So a lot's really happened, and that's kind of just a short synopsis of COVID. But no longer working in the SNF setting. Now I'm working in home health care here in Milwaukee. So that's been a bit of a change. So if you're not familiar with home health, it is where you go to a person's home and do therapy or provide healthcare services to them, instead of them going to the hospital and getting those services. So what would make someone have home health services? So say they went to the hospital, they had a diarrhea or something, and then they're medically stable to go home. but maybe, they needed a little bit of help at home. They needed a little bit more therapy. Then they wouldn't qualify. The doctor would order home care services, and that's when we show up and we do therapies with them and stuff. But in order to get home care services, you can't just be any old person off the street. So you have to be what's considered homebound. So, if Dorothy or whatever, if she's gets out of the hospital and goes down to 7-Eleven every afternoon and buys cigarettes and then goes to the casino every night and plays bingo, well, she's not considered homebound because, if she can go play bingo, every night and smoke a pack of cigarettes, then why can't she go to outpatient therapy? So there's levels and there's stages to the game where a patient, say the ideal patient would be, oh, I go home from the hospital, I'm still recovering. It's really hard for me to get out of the house and to go to doctor's appointments, it's like, it takes a lot of effort to like do my daily tasks or go to the doctors or go to church or go to a hair appointment, things like that. Or they're a high fall risk, or they can't even leave the house. They're bedbound, they're still sick, but they're not really appropriate to stay in the hospital because this is expensive to be in the hospital a long time. And insurance wants you out as quickly as possible, especially during the COVID. The hospitals, I guess, are full and stuff. So they're trying to get people home. So someone goes home for home health, they see us for a few weeks, maybe a few months, depending on what they need. And then hopefully we keep them out of the hospital. So in a nutshell, that's what I've been doing since September, since we moved here. We moved to Milwaukee in August. And so that's what I've been doing, and rolling with the punches and trying to learn. Still feel like really dumb sometimes, and sometimes I feel pretty good, and then other times I feel even more dumb. So we're just trying to roll with it and survive. I know everyone's trying to survive right now, especially with them gas prices and stuff. Here in the Midwest, under $3, it's pretty tough. So if it gets to 3, I'm gonna vote Republican. Okay, but we're just all trying to survive, I think, and it's just been a rough and tough, I guess, for some people. Maybe, other people have really done well in the pandemic, and other people have done medium, and other people have done bad. So hopefully we're out of it come spring. Hopefully this winter everyone gets COVID or everyone gets vaccinated or boosted, and then maybe we can kind of start living life a little bit in the summer and let the good times roll. So that's my plan, at least in my head. I doubt it'll happen, but it's interesting. I'm not going to get politically correct or anything, because there's nothing politically correct anymore. But people, when the masks came out and stuff like that, in Oregon, at least when we were living there, like the gym shut down. So your boy's a little thick from the COVID. But when the gyms finally opened in Oregon, you had to wear a mask when you worked out. And everyone was like, I can't work out with a mask. How am I supposed, I can't get my oxygen. I can't breathe with a mask. I can't do my sets with this mask on. Let me pull it down my nose. And then the lurk alarm would go off. But everyone had to wear a mask inside, even when you were working out. Even if you were doing hot yoga, you had to wear a mask, which I worked out in a mask, and it was okay. It's fine. Nothing too wild. But there's other people that I don't want to work out in a mask. I don't want to sit in a sauna with a mask because I can't breathe and stuff like that. But do you remember I would say it was probably 6 or 7 years ago. The biggest gym fad for about 6 to 9 months, 2 to 3 trimesters, was a training mask. And what this mask did was you put it on and you kind of looked like Bane from Batman. And you were the only person in the gym wearing a mask. And you kind of looked stupid. But you also couldn't breathe very well. And the whole point of the mask was I think it was called training mask, and I'm going to look it up and I'll throw a picture in here if I can figure out how to edit that. But the whole point of the mask was to make it hard for you to breathe, so it felt like you were training at altitude, even if you were training at sea level, if that makes sense. So the idea of the mask was you put on this mask and it's like you were up in the Colorado Rockies training. Oh, it's hard. I don't get as much oxygen. My body's not getting as much oxygen. I'm training harder. I'm training in the mountains even though I'm at sea level, and it's supposed to give you endurance and stuff like that. And everyone, especially in the MMA community, and boxing and CrossFit and stuff like that, you'd see people in the gyms wearing these like cool masks, and you could get like cool sleeves of like, you could get like a Bane sleeve, or you could get like a, I don't know, like a Spider-Man sleeve or something like that. And it was just like, it would go over your mouth and you sounded like you were on a respirator. And they had little valves you could change out. Like this one lets in 50%, like 50% air. This one's 25% air. This one's 3% air. So it's like you're working out underwater. So yeah, not a lot, but probably more than at least you could imagine, had those masks like 5 or 6 years ago. And they were really popular in the gyms because they thought that they could work out and be like you're working out in the mountains. And I think for some scientific reason, when you work out at elevation, there's less oxygen, so your body works harder. But these masks don't even do because you can't simulate less oxygen in the air. So the masks, I don't think they really did anything but just made you breathe harder. So maybe it made your diaphragm and stuff and your lungs maybe work a little bit harder. But as far as the oxygen in the air, it didn't change the oxygen level in the air. So it was really kind of a weird flex back in the day at the gym when you wore those masks. But anyways, the longest story short is people wore those masks to work out. And then when they had to wear masks, they couldn't breathe, which is just funny and ironic because 5 years ago or whatever, everyone was dying to get one of these $40 masks that made it difficult for you to breathe. But now when you're asked to wear a dang cloth over your face, you can't breathe and you're going to die when you work out. But yeah, it's just interesting to think about how much things have changed really since I would say really since Trump took office. And just, I don't know if it's technology, it's probably technology, and the way things are changing with everything. It's weird to think about how much has changed in the last 5 to 6 years, and how just the perception of even media and even, people, like, who do we trust anymore? We can't even trust, the CDC. We can't even trust this peer-reviewed article because, Big Pharma sponsored this article, or Joe Rogan said this. But it's really interesting how, I wouldn't say how Far Wave came, but yeah, like back in the day, you used to listen to your president and stuff like that, and now everything's kind of conflicting, and we don't know who to believe and who to trust. And if you trust someone, that means you're with them, and then you lean this way or that way. And I think either side you get, if you get too far overboard, if you lean too left, too right, you're gonna fall over ship. So maybe, I don't know, like cruise right in the middle or something like that. I think it's good to speculate on everything, but not everything needs to be speculated on. Usually the simplest answer is the right answer. So it's just kind of, yeah, I don't know. When you think about it, the real reality is staggering. Okay, the real reality of how far we've. I'm not going to say we've lost it, but I don't know what we need to do to fix it, and that's probably not my problem either. But um, it's quite interesting when you think about who we trust, who we put our faith in, and a lot of it's for lack of a better term, it all kind of started when Trump happened, and maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I don't know yet. We'll see. But I just want everyone to get along, and hopefully we can get back to that come this spring once COVID gets over. I know we've been saying that for 2 years, but really hoping that. But so I'm going to try and keep these podcasts maybe a little shorter than usual. I don't know what that means yet, but maybe when I get going and stuff, then I'll start talking a little bit longer. But for the most part, I'm thinking 20 to 40 minutes in there if I start rambling and stuff like that. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be doing this podcast again. Hopefully I can be consistent. If anything, if I can just be consistent and get out one episode a week, I think I'll be happy. And I'm going to be trying to work on my edits. And if anybody's got any advice, any tips and tricks, right now I'm using iMovie to edit my videos. I haven't splurged yet and purchased Adobe or what's the other one? Whatever the other one is, Final Cut maybe. Because I don't think I need it yet. I don't have any cool graphics or anything like that to show you, but I'm going to play around, try and get a little upgrade, because now our computer's not 10 years old. So look forward to that. As always, you can catch me on Instagram, Half the Story Podcast, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Did I say YouTube? Yeah, I think I said YouTube. I think I have a Facebook page still. I'm really bad at social media sometimes. I don't really post very often. But every time a new episode comes out, I will get you updated, and you will know as long as you subscribe, if you set a reminder on your YouTube channel, if you follow on Instagram, you'll know when new episodes are coming up. And I'm going to try to get one out every week, if not more, if I feel frisky, if I feel ready for it. But let's keep it simple, and let's try my best. Thoughts and prayers for me as I continue this journey with Half the Story Podcast, because this is honestly what I want to do. I just need to do it and quit being a baby about it. All right. I think that's it for today. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Hopefully you're happy I'm back and at it. Keep me in your thoughts and prayers, like I said, and have a good week. Enjoy the playoffs this weekend. Maybe we'll do a podcast Monday to talk about the upcoming Super Bowl and whatever else is coming up in life. But you guys take care, and I'll see you next time with Half the Story. Thanks.